So it's a huge welcome to my final guest on the Leadership Enigma powered by Vorboss for Leading London here in their central London offices. And I have with me Karen Burns, who is the founder and CEO of Fyma. So there's a question straight away. What's Fyma, Karen?
Hi, good to be here. Thanks for having me. Fyma is a computer vision and AI business. We use existing security cameras, tap into them, take the video feed, analyze it in the cloud, and give data back about what's happening. So it's not security, it's all sorts of things about how a space is used, how many people are in a specific space,
Right.
occupancy, flow, cars, buses, trucks, trams. We're usually used in space planning for
Right.
co-working, placemaking, mixed use, asset management. Because currently they would use, if they use anything, they would use sensors, which you need cabling for. They're old-fashioned, don't really work in spaces that are a bit quirky.
Yeah.
But cameras, we basically duplicate human sight.
So are you tapping into their cameras? Are they giving you a live feed into their cameras?
Yeah.
Or are you a software application to the cameras, or are you getting a feed from the cameras and then analysing it?
Yeah, so we get the feed from them. So there's a VPN setup, point-to-point connection,
Yep.
and then we analyze that feed. So we don't ship any hardware whatsoever, and we also don't tell our clients to install any packages.
Right. So
It's
you
a
just
really
they
good
get
deployment.
they just get you the feed.
Yeah,
And
that's all we
and
need.
does it happen in one location for you where all feeds come in and then they're all analysed?
Doesn't really matter for
Right.
us. So we can tap into a single camera, a camera system,
Yep.
a single building, an entire portfolio, and then analytics happen in real time.
Okay.
We keep our servers in Frankfurt because GDPR is strictest adhered to in Germany. So we
Yes,
decided
no,
to
I know that. I've had experience of.
put our servers in that kind of
Does that
environment.
give people more confidence then because the servers are in
It
a
has.
highly regulated environment?
Yeah, it absolutely has.
How
Well,
did you get into this?
how did I get into it?
Yeah.
Oh God. A bit of luck, a bit of accident, a bit of planning,
Tell me about it.
a bit of a combination. Fyma was a consulting company before we were a product company.
Right.
And me and my former co-founder met at an app building house 10 years ago.
Okay.
And thought, this business thing is so easy. We should set up, go and do our own business.
How do you feel now?
Yeah, all my grey hair on both my both sides of my head is from entrepreneurship. But we kind of did. So there was multiple projects that were done, and one was with the city council, which uses still in some locations these old-fashioned sensors. You need one per lane. It can tell you whether a vehicle is short or long.
Right.
So bus, car,
Are
truck,
these-
really.
You drive over the sensors?
And you
Is
have
that-
to
I've seen
under,
those.
yeah. So they kind of build these really ugly gates, and you have to drive under.
Right.
So if you imagine a big junction, you would need 12 upwards sensors
Right.
just to understand what's going on the road, but not on the pavement. But planning must happen for everybody.
Right.
So we were able to use an existing camera that was already there and have a look at the entire intersection and give 3 times more data back.
Wow.
And be 4.5 times cheaper over the lifetime of that particular
So there's
sensor.
a good value add, right?
So we immediately thought, okay, there must be a product here.
Are you a techie by background then?
No, I studied film and television.
Oh, I knew that. How do you study film and television and then you're in a data-driven kind of analytical? How does that happen?
How does it happen? Yeah. So I grew up in the Soviet Union, left Estonia when I
Yep.
was, I'd been 19 for 2 days. But the only reason I came to the UK was because British Council back in the day before it was defunded, like
Yeah.
is about to happen, it helped people from all over the world can connect and collaborate. And I had an NGO, so I did quite a bit of work up in Scotland and Newcastle actually with the Prince's Trust, with kids who were living in children's homes.
Yep.
And our network in the UK said, guys, just come to uni here. So I went to uni in Glasgow in Scotland and studied film and television.
Oh, in
And my
Glasgow.
dream was, to work in film and TV.
Right.
Which is not what you should go to Glasgow for. You should really study that kind of stuff nearer to London.
Yeah.
But I couldn't afford to live in the UK, so I had to get a job straight away.
Right.
And it just so happened that my first job, well, the first one was in a pub, but then the first proper one was actually at BT. So I landed a job with BT with a big project in Scotland, and that's how I kind of got my foot into tech. It
So-
was survival, so I could basically pay for my bills.
Okay, and so obviously you're a tech-driven, AI-enabled business. Who do you have to rely on for that side of the business then? Have you got specialists or experts you've had to bring in?
Yeah. So my co-founder and I set up the business 5.5 years ago. He departed the business in the end of last year, so I'm solo founder.
Yeah.
But we also always have had a technical third co-founder who's the head of engineering. So he's the guy who's built the entire stack.
Right.
And obviously this is a tech team. There's AI developers we've had, researchers. Our first hire was actually a PhD student to come and kind of help us get the final margin of accuracy out of every single AI model that we deploy.
How many people now are in Fyma?
So we're a small team. We're 8 people.
Oh, okay. Because you're AI powered, aren't you?
We are, yeah. So we used to use a team in Kenya to do some of the what I called donkey work, like data labeling and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But we've used AI agents, AI tools, AI taskers, we call them, to kind of automate all of it.
What's it doing for your business, AI, right now?
So computer vision, which is AI, is our entire business, basically.
Okay.
So if you imagine, let's call it like a pipe, then within that pipe we have multiple layers of AI neural networks that the video passes through. So our core business is all built on visual AI.
And just help me again understand, what are some of the insights that you're able to provide people as a result of what you're doing and how you're doing it?
Yeah, so I think the maybe easiest one to look at would be occupancy in a mixed-use state. Mm-hmm. So one of the locations we're live in is a 1 million square foot place in Brooklyn, in New York. So they have over 10 buildings, indoor space, outdoor space. It's very vibrant. There's food, beverage. Yeah. But there's also areas that have been leased to kind of mom and pops type little businesses.
Yes.
So the dynamic is very different between all of these spaces.
Right.
Cameras are there anyway for security and safety. So rather than wiring all of that space for sensors, which by the way don't work outdoors anyway, or if there's a really wide doorway or you go above a certain ceiling height, they just don't work. We plug into the existing cameras and tell them, okay, so out of this many people within the vicinity of the building, this is how many made it into this particular area. So if I give you an example, their food court, I think, gets about 17,000 people a week go through it. So it's a lot of people. But then 2 buildings down, upstairs is a really cool little area where hat makers and like gourmet matcha sellers sit. And the footfall there is 10 times less. So how can you move some of that potential traffic over
to spread
these
the load
small businesses? And if you know, how is seasonality affecting it? Do we have to worry about anything? Because none of the existing tools really are able to tell you with that kind of accuracy what we look at. What's
it like being, because you're London, aren't you? You're London based, but obviously you're working internationally. So how are you managing that as a small company?
It was a lot of travel. So I only moved back to the UK exactly a year ago.
Right, okay.
So it probably was actually today, a year ago, because my lease started on the 5th of June.
Right,
so,
okay.
And I would do 80 flights a year.
80?
80.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I travelled a lot.
Yeah, I'm the Emerald status and whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say you must be. They're probably royalty as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, well, you only last a year, right? And then you drop back down the layers. But I would spend quite a bit of FaceTime with clients. I would be in London probably about 2-3 days a month minimum, maybe a week. And I moved in with my mum and dad. So I'm a single mum. I've got 2 kids.
How old?
The younger one's 7, the older one's 13.
Oh, cool.
So the 13-year-old's already like
teenager.
Pretty, yeah. She's fun. Actually, the younger one's a bit more fun. The older one is gentler and very calm and very chilled.
It's funny, isn't it? How many? I've got a couple of kids where they can be very different.
Yeah.
But
I moved in with my parents for 3 years, and my mum took early retirement when we set up the business to help me and stayed with me. So I've always had help. I've never been doing this sort of, like, you can't do this alone.
Well, it's still hard to. How are you managing still being mum, being a founder, being a CEO, wanting to be successful in business? It's
meticulous planning, right?
Is it? Are you a real planner?
Yeah. So every Sunday we sit down with the kids. Not always, but usually with the kids. I plan out all of the meals for the week. We know what we're eating exactly when. I book the nannies. Yeah. I write down what happens during the week. 3 key things I need to get done every single day. Yeah. 3 key things I need to get done that week. Personal goals, what we're doing for the weekend. I also plan in time for the kids, so both together and individually. I don't really watch TV.
Where did this extraordinary planning?
You don't get life done otherwise. Like, you just completely sink under it otherwise.
Because
You
I'm
have to get it
completely the
done.
opposite. Well, maybe that's been my problem. But I mean, where's the planning come from? Was that come from? Did you grow up in a very planning? Were your mother and
My
father?
mum's a
like
bit
that?
of a planner.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up in, like I said, in the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
but on a farm, like a small farm.
Okay.
So it was very much, and in a 3-generation household. So again, I'm used to living with like grandparents and
Yes.
cousins always dropping in.
Okay. So there's a real family element to it.
Yeah.
And so
there
that
used to be.
planning. So you said there were 3 founders for the business. One has gone.
Yep.
One has exited. What was your role when you were all together and you started to think, well, hang on, what is the sum of the parts? What are my skills and yours? What were you there for? What did you all agree that? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, you're going to be the person who does what?
Yeah, so the main co-founder has left. So the technical guy is a minority shareholder.
Yep.
He is very technical, has done AI stuff for years.
Yep.
So he brought that to the table. It's like, how do we translate this stuff into an actual product?
Yeah.
I've always been commercially minded, and I raised all the funding that we have.
Oh,
So
did you?
sales and funding has all been me.
Okay.
Very
Why has that all been you?
I think I'm just very like planning driven, happy to speak publicly,
Right.
happy to travel, happy to put, my kids at my mum and dad's care and go away for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's kind of what each partner's
Gotcha.
able to tolerate
Okay.
and in where your strengths lie. So, yeah.
Now, you mentioned that one of the other founding partners has gone now. What's that like as a founder where you start something together as a group of 3 or 2 or whatever it might be, and then one moves, for whatever reason? But tell me what that feels like on a human level when
It's
you
horrible.
have to make a...
Yeah, it's really, really horrible.
Yeah.
Because we worked together for 10 years.
Okay.
So met in a different company, set this up, and then, so he would have been the person I spent most time with.
Okay.
Like even beyond the kids, right? In
Right.
terms of
Yeah.
being awake,
The day-to-day.
getting day to day.
Yeah.
It's really, I think you really get under somebody's skin that way. And even to the point where relationships become kind of familiar, like this bickering enters a relationship after 10 years.
You say you spend more time with these people than your own family.
Yeah, because it's just so
Yeah.
close, and there's a lot riding on this as well. Like,
Yeah.
do we have salary? Do we have clients? Can we make the fundraise?
Yes.
Is the product launch going to be out? So, and I think people have very different tolerance to risk and stress.
Right.
And also, when wins don't come, how quickly do you give in? Like that all only comes out under pressure.
So the resilience piece.
Yeah.
Are you more resilient then?
I think I'm resilient to the point of masochism maybe, but yeah, definitely more resilient.
And so then, how do you then deal with what is almost like shifting away a family member in order to then drive it yourself, or you've got a minority shareholder there who's the technical person? What's the mindset that you need then as the CEO and the person because you're now going to be the one who's driving this?
Yeah.
So what conversation have you almost had with yourself in relation to? Okay.
So in the end of last year, when this whole thing happened, it was very hard in terms of, okay, what do we do?
On a personal level.
Yeah, because it's I think you feel like you owe them and vice versa, but then you also owe the business a fresh start and founders who
and its best chance of success, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So in one level, it was really liberating,
Yeah.
and then on another one, it was like how do I recalibrate now? But we did a big reset. So all of the people except for 2 engineers are new.
Right.
So I replaced the business development, the product, like everything was completely replaced at the end of last year. So there was literally a fresh start with January. And I've had a coach now for 5 years, actually, since nearly the beginning of Fyma.
Yeah.
So without her, I don't think I would have been able to get through a lot of that kind of stuff. So because you really need to step into the CEO position, the me, the I.
It's lonely, isn't it?
It was lonely before as well.
Yeah.
But now I like the fact that there's nobody else to blame stuff on.
So it's down to you.
It really is down to me. So if I mess up, then it will be
It's interesting you said it because we had someone earlier who talked about it's the team for the time, and you're talking about you've got the new team for the new time. So let me ask you this final question: is kind of what's the most important piece of leadership advice that you've given or received that's really had an impact?
There's been so many pieces that my own coach has kind of passed on to me.
Yeah. What's front of mind for you then?
But I think the front of mind has been just kind of being fair. And being fair doesn't always mean being kind. So that's something that I think as a woman, you try and be lovely and nice and you know, get them to do their job. But being fair sometimes means being quite harsh. Like what we did in the end of last year, it was like, look, guys, you're not performing, and we're not going to put you on a performance review. We're going to replace you.
Right.
So it's just being kind, in that they are now able to grow in a completely different capacity and different business.
But you're willing to be accountable for that decision.
Yeah.
And in fact, now the buck stops with you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about?
Oh, at the moment, I'm excited about for Fyma. There's a really cool bunch of product releases coming out that we've been finally able to build.
Right.
Taking feedback directly from clients. There's interactive heat map. There's really cool stuff that's coming out.
Yes.
I've got a really big client that is closing in the next week, which is a 7-figure sum over 3 years.
Great.
So for a tech company, having that sort of stuff signed off is awesome.
Yeah.
And it will really cement our presence in the Canadian market. So those are really, really cool things.
Will you do another round of funding as well?
Yeah. So we're looking at that right now.
So in many ways, it's super exciting. Listen, Karen, thank you so much for coming on to the Leadership Enigma. And we've had an amazing day talking to a whole variety of leaders. And you were the last one of the day. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Take care.